We're excited about sort of, I suppose, running the best business we can, maybe not necessarily the best restaurant that we can. And I think Sal and I are sort of, maybe we're growing up a bit and we're feeling as though when you start becoming good at running a business, that's exciting.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. This is the summer series of Deep in the Weeds, and although we had Evan Marlor on only recently, it was clear he had more travel yarns in his rucksack to share. Evan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really well, Huck. Thank you.
It's good to get you back on, mate. I really loved the chat that we had not all that long ago, and I felt like it could have gone on forever. Does your business change shape, given the time of year, and do you do different things to respond to how consumers are behaving?
Yeah, we do, Huck. It's funny you mention that because as we go into this next month, we're going to remove ourselves from the restaurant entirely for a few weeks, and we're going to do a much more casual our brewery tap room will open, and we'll have a whole lot of outdoor seating and music, and we'll sort of call it a working holiday and meet the people a bit more and get, sort of have a bit of fun with it over on that side before we obviously open again and come back in.
What's the year been like for trade? It's been sort of challenging for a lot of people across the industry, but sort of how have you found it and where are you guys at?
We are so grateful for our return clientele. Obviously, we've done something right over the years, and we have a nice steady flow of return clientele, and mixed with that sort of fresh discovery customer as well. We really have seen the average spend drop off. Maybe some of the higher end things on the wine list, for instance, and whatever, you might see a little bit of a sort of a lower spend on the day, but that's it's so understandable in this current time,
You've, as you sort of discussed when we last caught up, you've got a lot of food stories. You've done a lot of traveling in your life and lived in different countries for a long period of time. Do you have any food stories you can share with us today?
Yeah. Look, we've got plans over the next couple of days to go and hunt down some amazing burgers. I'm a burger freak, and I know that sounds sort of strange coming from a sort of a more degustation sort of restaurant chef vibe. I've eaten probably thousands of cheeseburgers. The simpler, the better, all over the world. Actually, one of the best cheeseburgers I've ever eaten was down in Milton at Delhi's. Unfortunately, that legend isn't around anymore, but that setup. But that was one of the best I've ever had in the world, by the way. But living in Colorado, I was able to find a million little burger places. Right, it was really cool. And I was fit enough to be able to take it as well. I didn't have to sort of go into weeks and weeks of exercise after sucking down a few cheeseburgers. But look, one of the guys I worked with up in Winter Park in Colorado, where we lived at elevation, so pretty much altitude training with our job in the ski resorts. One of my supervisors was from Wyoming, and he kept saying all the time, every time we had a burger, he said, "This doesn't beat the one back home." And he kept saying it. I'm talking years of hearing about this guy's burger in Wyoming. And one day he actually mentioned that they did some of the best mac cheese as well. So within minutes, we were in his F-350 pickup and we were heading across to Wyoming. And I think, when I say Wyoming in an F-350, a lot of people start picturing, sort of Yellowstone, Jackson Hole, rich cowboys, massive ranches and this really amazing scenery like the Grand Tetons in the distance and whatnot. But no, we didn't go there. We went to a place called Torrington, which is almost bordering Nebraska. And that's flat ground. And as we're driving along barren ground, we're passing missile silos, those oil pumps that look like a big iron bird pecking the ground. They're everywhere. It's nonstop, up and down, up and down, up and down. Anyway, we found this place, which was actually a saloon, a bar. And yeah, he was right. The cheeseburger was absolutely incredible, up there in the top 10 for sure. And burger rings were probably one of the best I've ever had. Chicken wings were also on point, setting that sort of bar saloon scene there for you. But here's the thing, right? I'm wearing baggy pants, DC shoes, a hoodie. I'm a snowboard instructor. Everybody else in the bar is wearing Wrangler jeans and 10-gallon hats, so that there's smoke, thick smoke in the air and pool tables everywhere. One guy came up to me and Jack was smiling this whole time, and it was only later I realised why. Jack's my mate. He came over and he said, "Where are you from?" Sorry, my American accent is terrible. I said, "Oh, I'm just a snowboard instructor from Winter Park and come from Australia." "Oh, I love Aussies," he said, and he bought me a drink. Then we started playing pool, and the gig was that anyone who won the game of pool had the drinks bought for them. So we're talking bourbon all night long, playing pool. And I kept winning. I don't know how. I think because I've been at elevation and came down, I was thinking really straight. And I kept winning. We're playing pairs, doubles, so me and Jack were versing these two other guys. And then we'd introduced ourselves by name. Anyway, after winning that many and out drinking him, we started to notice these ladies hovering around with samples of chewing tobacco because there'd been a rodeo in town and these guys were representing their brand of chewing tobacco. And that's obviously something Australia's never even seen. I'd never tried it. So I did what you do and got a big wad and threw it in my mouth. And the whole bar's watching me. Apparently, you don't handle this very well on your first time, put it that way. Some people might even, get rid of it. Anyway, it was fine. So I did that for a little bit, and then everyone came over to me and started introducing themselves. And the guy I was playing pool with all night, he came up to me and said, "Man, I've never seen anyone drink and stay straight, chew tobacco for the first time, and win every game of pool. You guys must be legends down there in Australia," and all this sort of stuff. And he said, "I take my hat off to you." And he literally took his felt hat, 10-gallon felt hat off and gave it to me. And out here on our property, I still wear it. Like literally every week I'm wearing this cowboy hat because I feel proud. But then he said something strange. He said, "Come out to the car park. I've got something for you." And I thought, oh, here we go. It's getting weird. And so I went out the back, and there parked in the car park was this pretty much a semi-trailer with Budweiser logos all down the side. And I realized really quickly that this is a NASCAR setup. This vehicle, this huge truck had racing cars in it and sleeping areas and everything else. It was just extraordinary to look at. And he opened the door of his truck, he reached in and he pulled out a number 8 NASCAR race car driving jacket with the Budweiser logos all over it and everything else. And I didn't know, but I was talking to Dale Earnhardt Jr., and in America, this guy's the NASCAR king, the descendant of the other king, and probably their national hero. And it blew my mind, and I still have, again, that jacket sitting right here in my cupboard all the time. Very proud of it. But isn't it incredible what a cheeseburger and a quick game of pool might bring into your life, huh?
Amazing. Well, before we get into some more stories, what actually makes a great burger for you?
Simplicity again. Like if a patty is ground from the correct cut and has that real nice mix of obviously fatty content and high grade protein. If the bun's made on site, it's going to be fresh. Hopefully there's some butter in those ingredients, man, because he wants that sort of brioche vibe. Then if people are making tomato sauce or ketchup or whatever in-house, you're going to start seeing a little hidden world of spices in that ketchup. And then comes the king. The king ingredient is the pickles. I mean, I've fermented that many pickles. I've done so many different. We've got cucumber collection here, but for me, it's that combination there with that house-made ketchup. It's got to be the good old yellow mustard and pickles on a house-made bun.
You got me, mate. You got me feeling hungry, mate. Do you have any other food stories from your travels that you can share with us?
Yeah, look, I have one that's, I said the best burger that I'd had was right here in New South Wales. I meant that. Also, out of all my travels, one of the coolest things that we've ever seen with food was our dog Obi. Now, we have a border collie. He's a purebred border collie, so you just can picture that straight away. Long hair, he's gorgeous, and he knows it. He's an older dog, though, 10 years. He's the maitre d' at our restaurant, so anybody visiting our restaurant will be met by Obi, walked up the driveway through the trees to the restaurant, and then he'll go back and get the next people, to and fro, to and fro. Everybody knows him. Quite a well-known dog, yeah. Look, we are so lucky to have met amazing people in our restaurant, and one couple in particular live on our road, Peel Road up here, and they have a truffle farm. And they offered us truffles in the restaurant, and of course we jumped on them and we loved it. And then one day we thought, I wonder if we can get our dog to sniff out a truffle. So we took a little shaving of their truffle and I went and hid it in our bedroom. I think literally underneath the pillow in my bedroom, and without Obi seeing. And we sort of revved him up, gave him a treat or two, and said, "Here's we called it truffle Obi." And we took him into the bedroom and he found it. And so I gave him another little treat. I thought, this is pretty cool. So I ran outside and I hid some truffle underneath a gum tree, about an inch underground. And I said, "Where's the truffle, Obi?" And he found it. So I gave him another treat. Anyway, we did this like maybe half a dozen times. And I thought, yeah, I've got a truffle dog, right? Instant. Too easy. And this amazing couple that live up the road here on this farm, they invited us out there to do a little truffle hunt. And this was without our dog. And we saw their truffle farm and we saw real truffle dogs doing their thing, and it blew our mind. And luckily, they invited us back out on another occasion and we brought Obi, our border collie. And we walked in. This was in, middle of truffle season. We're talking sort of like the end of July. And we walked in and we were sort of apologising in advance. He's a bit of a dag. He might not really know what he's doing. And he was running after kangaroos and sniffing the ground. He wasn't focused. Anyway, we walked into their trufflery and I just said to Obi, "Where's the truffle?" And we couldn't believe it, Huck. He literally just beelined across 4 or 5 rows of trees to this tree. There's one particular tree, and he scratched the ground. And I thought, no, you're kidding. That can't be that good. And of course, the owner, he went over with his little stainless steel trowel and he started digging there. We put out this whopper, this huge, beautiful, ripe black truffle right there. And then before we knew it, we were doing it again and then again. "Where's the truffle, Obi? Where's the truffle?" And he'd go and go, and we'd give him another treat and another truffle. We had a bucket of truffles within, half an hour. And I think, apart from being blown away at that, because our old dog knew tricks, is obviously not true, we then brought those truffles back to our restaurant without turning left or right, literally same road back to the restaurant. And we offered truffles on the menu that week, and Sal was able to stand there and say, "These truffles have been hunted by that dog from that farm and now being served right here." I think it's cool. I mean, it's not a travel story as such, but that's fun.
That is amazing. I knew you'd have some good yarns, mate. You always do. You've had a really good year in 2024. 2025 is a bit of optimism about the potential in Australia. Do you have any plans for the next year ahead?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think in another chat with you, we were talking about, I suppose, not fixing something that's not, I can't fix something that's not broken. And we do feel like we've created a bit of a magical formula. And you did ask before about how sort of the economy has looked over the last few months. We're very lucky here where the last guests check out on a Sunday, or our accommodation have left, and all the diners have left on Sunday after a long lunch. And my fridges are empty. There is literally zero waste. And this is something that we've been able to achieve slowly, but we're there now. And obviously knowing exactly how many people are coming to dine, because we don't depend on sort of, passing traffic. We're more of a destination, so people come. Having that's obviously cost related too, Huck. If you've got zero waste, you're keeping your costs down, your food costs per plate are really starting to look good. So we're excited about sort of, I suppose, running the best business we can, maybe not necessarily the best restaurant that we can. And I think Sal and I are sort of, maybe we're growing up a bit and we're feeling as though when you start becoming good at running a business, that's exciting. I look forward to the challenges of the costs have just gone through the roof, from electricity to lamb. Every ingredient, every aspect has gone through the roof. So I'm excited about 2025 bringing challenges that are attached to our solutions. I don't know if hopefully that makes sense. It's something that we're starting to enjoy. So whatever that gets thrown at us, we should be able to pull out the special tool to fix that. And zero waste is exciting. I think I might have mentioned to you off air on one other occasion that we actually cancelled our red bin from the council. The red bin is obviously very familiar in Australian streets, and we had a huge one, and it cost a lot for that service each year. So we've been able to remove that rubbish collection from our property. Yeah, entirely. Now, I don't know if you can say negative waste, but 2025 could probably bring that in our favour. We've now got such a great system here. Nothing goes to waste with the chickens and everything else that we've got. So hopefully we're seeing now that return in the way of like a lush compost, which is now growing fresher veg,
Amazing. Well, as always, absolute pleasure to catch up with you, Evan, and can't wait to see what you do over the next year. And please keep in touch and look forward to catching up again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Huck.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the lives of the incredible people who ply their trade in the food and hospitality sector. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast, or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.